Hi there. Is there any law in Nigeria that prohibits domestic violence in people's private life? Is there any law that protects domestic violence victims? Is there any law that makes sure that offenders of domestic violence are punished? The answer to that is yes. And I'm about to tell you the laws that exactly guide and protect people from any form of violence in Nigeria. If you want to hear more about it, stick with me and don't leave. Welcome to another episode of What Does the Law Say? Thank you very much for joining me. It's been a very long time that we've done any of the episode of What Does the Law Say? I think it's been almost a year already. And so this is the first episode in this country. This is the first episode this year. This is the first episode this month. Thank you for all my people from Nigeria. So I'm going to talk about something that's been going on in Nigeria in the last 10 days. So particularly, a minister in the body of Christ passed away, and there's been news that the reason or what led to her passing away was domestic violence. And people have talked about it from different angles, out of anger, out of pain, questions, things like that. Morally, people are saying, why is this happening? Why should this man do this? Why did she end up with him? Different questions, from also men of God and ministers of God. People have come out to rebuke, correct, also encourage if they have any church member or any person generally that is, going through domestic violence, they should check out, they should leave. Everybody's just out there on social media giving their own opinion about the issue. I don't think I've seen anybody talk about it from a legal angle, and so that's what I'm going to do here. That's why that's why this is What Does the Law Say, so we can talk about it, from a legal angle. So just like I said in the introduction, yes, there is a provision in Nigeria. There is a law that provides for the issue of domestic violence and, how they can be protected and how offenders can be punished. Exactly stating the offense and, also giving out punishments for the offenders. And so I'm talking about this because I feel like not many people know this. I'm not really going to go into so much details about the minister of God that passed away because it's a very sad story. It's not one to talk about really. I mean we have to talk about it because something has to be done. People have to learn, people have to check out. We need to make sure that people know what is going on. But it's not such a sweet story to share because this is a minister of God, and also it's a very sad story and just all the things that are surrounding it. But so right into the laws that are provided or that provide for domestic violence. So there are exactly two laws that I know of currently now. One is the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act of 2015, which the National Assembly enacted, and there is another one that is Protection Against Domestic Violence Laws of Lagos State 2007. The one for Lagos State is particularly to Lagos State since it was enacted by the Lagos State House of Assembly. But that one actually covers more. It covers protection order, covers if you can bring a complaint if as an external person, covers prohibition, even has a response team. And so I'm going to be talking about the Lagos State one next week, such that if you want to reach out to the response team or you want to, ask the court for a protection order, you can actually do that. But so today, what exactly does the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act provide? This act particularly prohibits any form of violence in any public or private life. It states how a person can be protected, and it also explains that the kind of punishments that an offender will have if they are the one, instilling that violence in another person. So let's go right into it. Section 2 talks about the infliction of physical injury on a person. So if for any reason you are inflicting physical injury on a person, it is an offense. And that offense provided for in section 2 says that if a person, you deliberately and willfully by your own self, you willingly cause injury, or use some form of substance, a weapon, something to inflict injury on another person by yourself, that is an offense. If you are found guilty, it's an offense, and you'll be sentenced to imprisonment for not less than 5 years or a fine of 100,000 naira, or you can even have both. So it's an offense to inflict physical injury on another person. In the event that a person is inflicting physical injury on you, it is an offense under the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. And so you can sue for that. You can report to the police. You can make sure that you receive a court order to restrain or refrain that person from coming anywhere close to you. In case you don't know this, here it is. I know that maybe that's one of the reasons why some people don't leave, because they're like, what's gonna happen? Who's going to hear me? How am I going to get any remedy? What's going to be of my case? Are people not just going to make me a laughing stock? No, people are not going to make you a laughing stock. You can actually make sure that this offender gets punished for whatever they are doing, for any form of violence. Now, in the event that you don't even willfully do it, right, but you attempt to do it, you attempt to inflict physical injury on another person, there's also punishment for you if you are doing that, if you make an attempt to do that. If you are found guilty, the term of imprisonment for that is not exceeding 3 years or a fine of 200,000 or both. So in case you think, oh, you just made an attempt to do that, if you are found guilty while you made an attempt to inflict physical injury on another person or cause violence to another person, there's also punishment for that. In the event that you didn't make an attempt, but you helped the person that wanted to make the attempt, or you helped the person that did it, you aided, you assisted that person, there's also punishment. So know that any person that is inflicting physical injury on you can be punished under this law. So please don't be quiet. Another section of this law is section 14. So section 14 provides for emotional, verbal, and psychological abuse. In the event that a person is willfully inflicting emotional, verbal, or psychological abuse on another person, it is also an offense. It is an offense to inflict abuse emotionally, verbally. So if you are saying words that you are verbally abusing somebody, or emotionally abusing somebody, or you are psychologically abusing somebody, you can actually bring an action. It is an offense. You can report, the police can investigate, and that offender would be jailed for it. So don't keep quiet. And so this provision says that a person who causes emotional, verbal, or psychological abuse on another, you commit an offense and is liable on conviction to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 1 year and to a fine of 200,000 naira or both. In the event that you make an attempt to cause emotional or verbal or psychological abuse on another person, you also commit an offense and you may be liable on conviction to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 6 months or to a fine not exceeding 100,000 naira or both. And also, if you're aiding, you're assisting somebody in doing it, there's also punishment for you. Now, the last one, which is probably like the juiciest of it, is section 19. Section 19 provides for spousal battery. So the event that a person who batters his or her spouse, note that it says his or her spouse. So whether you are the he, you are battering your spouse, the she, or you are the she, battering your spouse, the he, it applies to you. So in the event that a person batters his or her spouse, you commit an offense and you are liable on conviction to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 3 years or to a fine of 200,000 naira or both. Also, just as the former provisions, if you make an attempt to cause spousal battery, if you make an attempt to batter your spouse, there's also punishment for you. There is also a fine for you. There is also imprisonment for you. In the event also that you are helping, you are aiding, you are assisting somebody to batter his or her spouse, there's also that. Or it's you that they give the work to do. They say, go and beat this person somewhere. There's also punishment for that. And this is all an offense under the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. It's a criminal offense. It's an offense. And if the police should investigate the matter and the judge finds the offender guilty, all this punishment that I've read out is what is going to happen to the person. And I know that, yes, this is so much more than that. People are going to say, how long would it take? When would it happen? Is it not better if you know that something can be done than you stay there thinking, oh, nothing can be done, so let me just stay here? Don't stay. This is my own way of saying don't stay. I mean, leave as fast as you can. Let the offender be punished before you start reasoning any other thing. And so next week, I'm going to talk about the protection orders, and even us as external people, as family members, as loved ones, as pastors, as sisters in the body of Christ. If you say that somebody is going through domestic violence, what can you do? Can you bring a complaint? Can you make anything happen on behalf of that person? And so next week I'm going to talk about that and just really explain so much about it. If you have any questions as regards this, please just drop it in the comment section and I'll be glad to talk to you about it. Thank you for watching today's episode of What Does the Law Say? I'll see you next Thursday. Bye for now.